Is there really any power or significance behind choosing a word for the year? Well, there is if you choose your word for the year. And I'm going to talk to you about how to go about doing that and how to be intentional in your growth as a result. My name is Antoinette Griffin, and my channel is all about confidence, communication, and charisma from an introvert's perspective. Now, my first exposure to this concept of choosing a word for the year was through John Maxwell, world's leadership expert, and I am one of John Maxwell's coaches. So this is how I became exposed to this concept. But in the beginning, I thought, well, it sounds cool, but is it really going to make a difference in the way that I live my life? So it wasn't until 2021 that I first chose my word for the year. And yes, if done with intentionality, if done with a plan, it really can make a difference, a positive difference in your life. First of all, think about an area of your life where you're really wanting to improve. Maybe it's an area of weakness that you need to improve in, or maybe it's an area of strength that you really want to lean into and get better at. Once you've identified a topic, then Google is your friend. Do an online search for what are the different words that come up when you pull up that topic. Say, for instance, you really want to get better about feeling at peace. So when you type in peace into Google, words such as tranquility, harmony, balance, quiet, those words come up. And really, is it one of those words that you resonate with, that you're really seeking? Or is it really that general topic of peace? Spend long enough as far as thinking about your thinking about how you're thinking about these words and how they resonate with you. And you're going to be able to narrow down the word that means the most for you for the year. And if you can't decide between two words, then you don't have your word yet. John Maxwell talks about how you need to really resonate with one word and let that word really be your guiding star throughout the year. It's not a word that you just want to claim out loud or claim on paper. It's a word that you want to become part of your identity. You want this word to guide you throughout the year. You want to start living out this word externally in your actions. And so therefore, it'll eventually become internal to your identity and who you are. I'm going to talk about how you can go about doing that. Once you have your word, you want to go back to Google and do the same thing again. So you want to do an online search. Put in your word and then type definition. Put in your word and type meaning, and then it's going to give you a list of what does this word look like lived out? What are some examples of this word? And then take note. What does it look like for me to actually live this word out? After I go to Google and I've looked up all the online dictionary examples of the word, then I go to other resources. For me, as a Christ follower, I go to the Bible and I look up verses that highlight this word and what does that look like. Once again, it gives me an example of what does it look like to really live out this word. Third, I write out my own personal examples of what I think this word looks like in my daily life, depending on my schedule, depending on my circle of friends and circle of acquaintances and my professional life. What are some examples of what does it look like specifically to live out this word? And number 5, and this is the one that works so powerfully for me. This is really kind of the deal maker or the deal breaker. If I do this, it is the deal maker. And that is at the end of each day, I have a journal where I think about how did I live my word out for that day? How did I succeed or how did I fail? Or sometimes it's both. And I can tell you, because I know when I go throughout my day that I'm going to have to face that journal and make note of it, it makes me more mindful of my word throughout the day. What is my word for 2022? It is humility. that is an area that I feel like I really need to work on. And so I have written some just personal examples of what humility looks like in my life. Something as simple as if I'm in a store or if I'm out somewhere and I see something laying on the ground, it's not going to be beneath me to pick it up and put it back where it belongs. I know that sounds like a simple example, but that is one way that I can live humility out. And then how can I be humble with other people? I can tell you, I've already failed and I've had to go back to some people already this year and apologize, saying, you know what? I don't think that I showed up in my best self with you during our conversation or during our email exchange, but I'm mindful of it. And so I can tell that it's already helping me to grow. Now, what if your word is just not very cool sounding or not very sexy sounding? You know what? Your word is your word. So don't worry about if your word sounds kind of off the wall or weird. Once you have your word, you'll know that you can embrace it, you can live it out throughout the year, and you will grow as a result. Now, if you need some help getting started, I've got 4 reflection questions that you can ask yourself when thinking back on your year. And I've got a link to that below and above as well. So be sure and check that out. If you have enjoyed this video, I hope you will press like and I hope you will subscribe to my channel.